Good afternoon, one and all. I welcome you back into the last session of our training program. Our last speaker for the day is Dr. Mahendra Gurjar. Dr. Gurjar is an engineering graduate with an MBA in finance and holds a PhD in management. He has more than 18 years of teaching experience and he has been involved in many externally funded projects of ICAR, ICSSR, and has carried out around 10 departmental projects under Agresco. To his account, he has a total 63 publications in national and international journals, including some book chapters. We are glad to have you with us today, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Divyang. Thank you for the nice introduction. Now, I will start my presentation. I'm sharing my screen. F5. One moment now. I hope you can see the PPT, my first slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So a very good afternoon to all the audience who have joined this 5-day online training on the topic of value addition in milk, fruits and vegetables, a success mantra for agripreneurs. Today is the 5th day and my topic is schemes and initiatives for promoting entrepreneurship in dairy processing sector. Now, if you look back on what has happened in the last 5 days in this training program, we have already seen these themes. On the day first, we had the theme value addition through processing, where we got the overview of what are the opportunities in the dairy and food processing sectors. And then on the second day, we had various success mantra for dairy entrepreneurs, then success mantra for food entrepreneurs. And on the 4th day, the theme was dedicated to innovations and startups. Now, today is the 5th day where we are discussing the theme of entrepreneurial schemes available in the food processing sector and the dairy sector. Food processing sector has already been discussed. And now I will discuss the entrepreneurial schemes available in the dairy sector. So by now, after all this discussion, I think that many of you might have started thinking of the opportunities in dairy and food processing sector. But the question is, and you might have made up your mind to start an entrepreneurial venture in this sector. But the $1,000,000 question is, where is the money? Where is the money to invest? If you have some entrepreneurial venture in your mind, then how do you raise the fund? Do you have the sufficient fund for that? So where is the money? So now when the question comes that where is the money, we start automatically discussing and trying to search what are the schemes available in a particular sector which support entrepreneurship, whether there are fund-based schemes or non-fund-based schemes. But so generally we look at the support schemes which are available in the sector. Now, before we go to the schemes available for growth and promotion of Indian dairy sector, I will give you a brief about the overview of Indian dairy sector. I will not take much time in this slide. We already know that India is the largest milk producer in the country and accounts for around 21% of total milk production. And in the Indian context, the cooperative sector has a strong hold on the dairy sector. And dairy is not simply a business in India, but is a model for socio-economic development of rural milk producers. And it is growing at an appreciable rate of 4.5%. However, the amount of milk processed by the organic sector is around 20% only. And hence there is a tremendous growth possibility at this juncture. So as I said earlier, that your search for from where do we raise the money, or where is the money, or where are the support schemes available in the dairy sector, we start searching for looking out for various schemes. So I will give you here the overview of a few schemes. Not all the schemes are directly related to entrepreneurship, but they promote growth and development of dairy sector. So indirectly, they contribute to the GDP, and indirectly they provide employment possibilities also. But the first scheme is the National Livestock Mission. The program was launched during the 12th five-year plan, aiming for overall development of live sector, which includes improvement in feed and fodder. It has 4 submissions, under which the submissions are feed and fodder development, submission on livestock development, a submission on pig development in Northeast region, submission on skill development, technology transfer and extension. Then there is a scheme called National Animal Disease Control, which aims at eliminating the foot and mouth disease and brucellosis from the country. It is a 100% centrally funded scheme and plans to eradicate these diseases by 2030. And then the next scheme, we all know, the National Dairy Plan 1. It was an externally aided project with a outlay of 2,242 crores. And NDP was implemented in 18 major milk producing states, which account for around 90% of the country's milk production. The first phase of NDP 1 is over, and the second phase will start in some time. The next scheme which you find in the dairy sector is the Dairy Processing and Infrastructure Development Fund. The scheme has a total outlay of 10,881 crore, and it basically provides some interest subvention to the eligible beneficiaries. Then we have the scheme Rashtriya Gokul Mission. The Rashtriya Gokul Mission was launched in order to conserve and develop indigenous bovine breeds under the National Program for Bovine Breeding and Dairy Development. Government of India has also set up recently the Rashtriya Kamdhenu Ayog to function as a part of Rashtriya Gokul Mission in order to promote indigenous breed of cows and generate income opportunities. Now, recently, this is also a scheme, Kisan Credit Card, which was previously not available to the milk producers, but a special drive was undertaken by the department to provide the Kisan Credit Card to dairy farmers also. So this scheme was up to 30th September, but due to the COVID lockdown, it was extended up to 31st December 2020. The next scheme is the Dairy Entrepreneurship Development Scheme. So if we consider the dairy sector only, then in the dairy sector, this is the main scheme which is focused really on entrepreneurship. The Dairy Entrepreneurship Scheme was started in September, and prior to that, its name was Dairy Venture Capital Fund. But the name was changed, and then it was reintroduced in September 2010. And these are the few components of in which the DEDS scheme provides benefits: establishment of small dairy unit, vermicompost unit, purchasing of milking machines, milk testers, bulk milk coolers, purchase of milk processing equipment for the manufacture of indigenous milk products, transportation and cold storage facilities, establishment of private veterinary clinics, both stationary and mobile, setting up of milk partners, and all these schemes were there. But this scheme has been discontinued this year because of the launch of a new scheme called Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. So the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund has been introduced along with the 20 lakh Atmanirbhar package. So before we go to the discussion of Animal Husbandry and Infrastructure Development Fund, let us see a few success story in the field of value addition. I will play a few videos, short clips of some success stories, so you will be able to realize that how farmers are or how entrepreneurs are doing in this uh, in this sector.
यदि कुछ अलग करने का हौसला हो तो एक साधारण किसान यदि कुछ अलग करने का हौसला हो तो एक साधारण किसान भी करोड़ों का बिजनेस खड़ा कर सकता है। यदि कुछ अलग करने का हौसला हो तो एक साधारण किसान
Is the video visible? Are you able to see the video?
No, sir.
यदि कुछ अलग करने का हौसला हो तो एक साधारण किसान भी करोड़ों का बिजनेस खड़ा कर सकता है। बस शर्त यह है कि बिजनेस लोगों के फायदे के लिए होना चाहिए। फिर आपका के लिए और दूध से बने शुद्ध उत्पाद लोगों तक पहुंचाने के लिए मिल्क प्रोसेसिंग का काम शुरू किया। आज ये दूध की पैकेजिंग के साथ ही दूध के 20 से ज्यादा प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं। इनके मिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स की मांग विदेशों में है। सोमवीरपुरा कौन-कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं और इन्होंने कितना बड़ा बिजनेस खड़ा कर लिया है, इसकी पूरी जानकारी बोर्ड में नौकरी छोड़ के और मैंने किसानी अपनाई। तब से मैं एक किसान हूँ। मैं ऑर्गेनिक खेती करता हूँ और नेचुरल दूध का काम करता हूँ।
Yes, audience, please put up the questions relevant to this topic in the chat box so that we can ask sir about the same.
कि मैं लोगों को
Meanwhile, we are getting back to the video.
से बने हुए प्रोडक्ट खिलाऊं और 2001 से लेके अब तक मैं
Okay, so we will play the video later.
लोगों की भी सेहत अच्छी है
A few clips are there
हो रहा है और मैं लोगों को जागरूक भी कर रहा हूँ
of focusing on some successful stories. We'll see that later. We move to the next scheme. The next scheme is Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. The Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund is a 15,000 crore fund that was set up in 2020 in order to increase the private sector investment in developing animal husbandry infrastructure. Dairy plants, meat processing units, and animal feed plants. It was set up by the government of India as a part of COVID-19 stimulus package. The new fund is aimed to support farmer producer organizations, MSMEs, Section 8 companies, private companies, and individual entrepreneurs. Now, before we go and discuss, okay, we have the video with us.
उससे मार्केट में पूर्ति नहीं हो रही। का हौसला हो तो एक साधारण किसान भी करोड़ों का बिजनेस खड़ा कर सकता है। बस शर्त ये है कि बिजनेस लोगों के फायदे के लिए होना चाहिए, फिर आपका फायदा अपने आप हो जाएगा। हरियाणा में भिवानी जिले के रोढ़ा गांव के रहने वाले सोमबीर बुरा ने लोगों को शुद्ध दूध पिलाने के लिए और दूध से बने शुद्ध उत्पाद लोगों तक पहुंचाने के लिए मिल्क प्रोसेसिंग का काम शुरू किया। आज ये दूध की पैकेजिंग के साथ ही दूध के 20 से ज्यादा प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं। इनके मिल्क प्रोडक्ट्स की मांग विदेशों में है। सोमबीर बुरा कौन कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं और इन्होंने कितना बड़ा बिजनेस खड़ा कर लिया है, इसकी पूरी जानकारी।
बोर्ड में नौकरी छोड़ के और मैंने किसानी अपनाई थी, तब से मैं एक किसान हूँ। मैं ऑर्गेनिक खेती करता हूँ और नेचुरल दूध का काम करता हूँ। 2001 में मैंने 20 पशु बांध के दूध का काम स्टार्ट किया था, तब से आज तक मैं दूध का काम कर रहा हूँ। मेरा एक ही लक्ष्य है कि मैं लोगों को जहर रहित दूध और दही और दूध से बने हुए प्रोडक्ट खिलाऊं। और 2001 से लेके अब तक मैं नियमित यही काम कर रहा हूँ और इससे लोगों की भी सेहत अच्छी है और मेरा को भी अच्छा मुनाफा हो रहा है। और मैं लोगों को जागरूक भी कर रहा हूँ कि जितने भी मेरे किसान भाई हैं जो खेती करते हैं वो साइड में पशु पालें और अपने पशुओं का अच्छा दूध जो है वो अच्छी संस्था, मैंने एक संस्था भी रजिस्टर्ड करवाई है जो किसान के नाम से है, किसान डेयरी मिल्क एंड मिल्क प्रोडक्ट। मैं अपने इस संस्थान में लगभग 20 के लगभग प्रोडक्ट बनाता हूं जो नेचुरल हैं, शुद्ध हैं और जो लोग मेरा प्रोडक्ट खाते हैं उनसे मेरे को अच्छा रिव्यू मिल रहा है। लोग इसको अच्छा पसंद कर रहे हैं और वो मानते भी हैं इस बात को कि ये जहर मुक्त है। और वो लोग मेरे को इतना प्रोत्साहित करते हैं कि उन लोगों से मैं प्रोत्साहित होके आज यहाँ तक पहुँच चुका हूँ। मैंने अपना खुद का प्लांट लगा लिया है और मैं कम से कम 20 प्रोडक्ट यहाँ तैयार कर रहा हूँ। और मैंने अपना एक लोगो भी रजिस्टर्ड करवाया है किसान डेयरी के नाम से। मेरे लगभग 15 प्रोडक्ट जो हैं वो पैकिंग में हैं। मेरे पास जितना दूध अवेलेबल था उससे मार्केट में पूर्ति नहीं हो रही, इसीलिए मैंने दूध को बढ़ाने के लिए गांव के किसानों को उत्साहित किया और मैंने अपने प्लांट में कई गाड़ियां लगाई, उनके ऊपर सिस्टम रखे। सिस्टम ऐसा रखा है कि मेरी प्लांट की गाड़ी किसान के घर पे जाएगी, वहाँ उसके दूध को नापेगी, दूध की क्वालिटी गुणवत्ता उसको जांच करेगी। उसके बाद में मेरी गाड़ी में जो सिस्टम रखा हुआ है वो दूध की रीडिंग, फैट, एसएनएफ और उसका भाव वहीं पे बना के दे देती है। तो हम किसान से दूध लेके उसको रिसीविंग भी उसके घर पे ही दे देते हैं। और हमारी कोशिश ये रहती है कि दूध जितना जल्दी और जितना शुद्ध जल्दी प्लांट पे पहुँचे वो जल्दी से जल्दी प्लांट पे लाके और प्लांट पे प्रोसेसिंग की जाए। इसलिए हमने कई और बेरोजगार किसानों को हमारी इस टीम में, हमारे इस प्लांट में उनको सम्मानित की। कोई अगर सीखना भी चाहे या इस साइड में कोई आदमी काम करना भी चाहे तो हम उसकी भी पूरी मदद करेंगे, उसको गाइडलाइन देंगे। जब तक वो यहाँ रहेगा उसका खाना पानी रहेगा, कोई चार्ज नहीं होगा, केवल उसको सिखाएंगे, वो सीख के लेकिन काम अच्छा करे। हम यही दुआ करते हैं कि वो हमारे पास आए, हमसे शिक्षा ले और वो जाके काम करे तो बिल्कुल हमारी तरह ईमानदारी से करे। बस उससे यही हाथ जोड़ के विनती करेंगे कि वो जब काम करे।
या कोई प्रशिक्षण, फिर भी वर्मी कंपोस्टिंग के व्यवसाय से आज लाखों कमाती हैं मेरठ की पायल अग्रवाल।
नमस्ते दोस्तों, आप देख रहे हैं ग्रीन टीवी। मैं हूं तीसरा, हमारे एरिया में बहुत ही एम्पल अमाउंट में, यानी कि बहुत बड़ी मात्रा में गोबर जो है वो फेंका जा रहा था, बदबू फैला रहा था, दीमक फैला रहा था, क्योंकि ये जो गांव है दतावली, जहां पर हम काम करते हैं, इस गांव से शहर काफी पास है, जुड़ा हुआ है। तो इस क्षेत्र में गोबर की मात्रा इतनी ज्यादा थी, और जो शहरों की जो डेयरी होती हैं, गौशाला होती हैं, उनके पास में गोबर ज्यादा होने के साथ साथ डंपिंग ग्राउंड्स नहीं होते, यानी कि वो गोबर को कहाँ फेंके। तो यही कुछ रीजंस रहे जिसकी वजह से मैं लोग अपने घरों में गमले जो है लगा रखे हैं, या गार्डन्स मेंटेन करते हैं, किसी भी तरीके का कोई रिजॉर्ट है, रेस्टोरेंट्स हैं जो टेरेस गार्डनिंग कर रहे हैं, ये सारे क्षेत्र में वर्मी कंपोस्ट ही तो डलेगा। आप बताइए, यहाँ यूरिया डीएपी डाई डालकर उनको क्या बेनिफिट होने वाला है? कुछ भी नहीं। तो मेरा मेन मकसद, दोबारा ये काम कर रहे हैं और हम जहर मुक्त खेती की तरफ किसानों को मोटिवेट कर रहे हैं, उन्हें ट्रेनिंग्स भी दे रहे हैं, फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट ये ट्रेनिंग्स चल रही हैं। इसके अलावा भी अगर किसी भी तरीके का कोई भी क्वेरी आती है जिसके बारे में हम जानकारी रखते हैं, हम सामने वाले को उसके बारे में भी बताते हैं, और कोई भी यूनिट स्टैब्लिश करना चाहें वो भी करवाते हैं। पर उद्देश्य सिर्फ यही है कि आप किसी भी तरीके से गुमराह ना हो, अपना मार्केट खुद बनाएं, खुद सामान को बेचें और अपने पैरों पर खड़े हो जाएं।
चलिए, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका ग्रीन टीवी के दर्शक।
सिस्टम लगा रखा हमने सरस डेयरी से, इसमें 50% इसने सरस डेयरी ने दिया है अनुदान, और 50% हमने खुद में लगाया है। ये सरस डेयरी है, आसपास के ग्रामीण लोग हैं, दूध देने आते हैं, और 2000 लीटर दूध का कलेक्शन होता है डेली। वो सरस डेयरी में जाता है दूध पूरा, और मशीन में चेक हो जाता है, ऑटोमेटिक दूध की गुणवत्ता आ जाती है, कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन है, उसमें उसकी कोड नंबर डालती है, उसका नाम आ जाता है किसान का, और मशीन पूरा चेक करके बता देती है कि कितने फेंट का दूध है और कितनी रेट है इसकी और कितने रुपए का हुआ टोटल। यहाँ वजन हो जाता है। और इधर ये बीएमसी सिस्टम है पूरा, इसको बीएमसी बोलते हैं, बल्क मिल्क कूलर। इसमें दूध डालते हैं अंदर और ऑटोमेटिक मोटर लगी हुई है, मोटर से इसमें चला जाता है अंदर। ये 2000 लीटर की कैपेसिटी है इसकी। तो इसमें ये पूरा दूध से भरा हुआ टैंक, ये 2000 लीटर कैपेसिटी का टैंक है। इसमें दूध 4 डिग्री टेम्परेचर पे ठंडा हो जाता है, उसके बाद ये खराब नहीं। ये अपना मिल्क कैन होते हैं, उनको सफाई करने की मशीन है। इसमें ऑटोमेटिक यहाँ कैन डालते हैं अपन, तो ये ऑटोमेटिक इधर खींच लेता है और इससे ऑटोमेटिक सफाई हो जाती है। मतलब आदमी को हाथ लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है, इतनी एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी की मशीन है, जिससे मिल्क कैन अच्छी तरह सफाई हो जाता है, जिससे इसके बैक्टीरिया वगैरह सब खत्म हो जाते हैं। जैसे सेंसर बेस्ड टेक्नोलॉजी है, जैसे ही इसके पास कैन जाएगा ये ऑटोमेटिक ले लेगा अंदर, और इसके अंदर जो भी चिकनाहट होगी वो ऑटोमेटिक साफ हो जाए। और इससे यही फायदा है कि इसमें डालने के बाद दूध खराब नहीं होता है। जैसे सुबह जल्दी आ गए, साहब 7 बजे आ गया, गर्मी का टाइम है, अब दूध जयपुर जाते जाते 10 बज गए, 11 बज गए, तो अपना दूध खराब नहीं होगा, घाटा नहीं लगेगा। इससे अच्छा मुनाफा मिलेगा अपने को और बहुत फायदे का। मैं तो ये कहना चाहूंगा सभी से, जो भी दुग्ध व्यवसाय है उनको बीएमसी तो जरूरी है रखना। बीएमसी के बिना वो दूध का कारोबार कर ही नहीं सकते।
हेलो दोस्तों, स्वागत है चड्ढा सेल्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के यूट्यूब चैनल में। और आज हम हैं संजीवनी डेयरी सोनीपत, 10 एकड़ में फैला हुआ है, जिसमें काउ फार्मिंग भी है और मिल्क प्रोसेसिंग प्लांट भी है। और ये बिल्कुल ही हाइजेनिक एरिया है और जिसमें पाउच पैकेजिंग और बॉटल पैकेजिंग होती है। दोस्तों, यहाँ पे ना सिर्फ मिल्क प्रोसेसिंग होता है, बल्कि यहाँ पे कैटल फार्मिंग भी है। यहाँ पे मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि करीब 400 गायों का पालन होता है, जिनकी मिल्किंग करके यहाँ पे मिल्क को प्रोसेस करके मार्केट में पहुंचाया जाता है। तो आइए मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ कि
किसानों को सबसे पहले बताएं।
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम दया किशन है और मैं दिल्ली देहात छावला गांव बिलोंग करता हूं। और इनिशियली माँ बाप ने बहुत अच्छी एजुकेशन हमें दिलाने में मदद करी, पूरा सहयोग किया। और MBA करके मैं जॉब कर रहा था IT सेक्टर में, लेकिन धीरे धीरे वहां से क्विट करके और अपना सोशल एरिया में या एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में हमने एंटर करने की सोची।
कि आप अपने FPO के बारे में हमें बताएं कि आप लोग FPO के जरिए क्या क्या काम करते हैं, कितने किसान जुड़े हुए हैं उनके साथ, आपके साथ, और खासकर मतलब
महिलाएं कितनी जुड़ी हुई है, क्योंकि हम लोग बात करते हैं खेती में मैक्सिमम जो है महिलाओं का भी बहुत योगदान होता है। तो आप लोगों के जो एफपीओ में है महिलाएं कितनी साथ जुड़ी हैं और कितने लोग जुड़े हैं?
जी, मैं शुरू करना चाहूंगा कि एफपीओ की जरूरत हमें कैसे महसूस हुई। जैसे मैंने पहले बताया कि 40 से 45 के करीब हमारी डेयरीज हैं, सिर्फ डेयरीज हैं जहाँ मिल्क प्रोड्यूस होता है। तो हमें दिक्कत आती थी, एक डेयरी सेक्टर में एक हर एक व्यवसाय का अपना एक कैलेंडर होता है, एक बिहेव होता है अलग अलग महीने में अलग अलग प्रकार से। तो डेयरी में जो है वो दिवाली के बाद दूध की बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम आती है, एक्सेस हो जाता है, प्रोडक्शन एक्सेस हो जाता है, डिमांड कम हो जाती है, तो प्रॉब्लम आती है। तब उसको इकट्ठा करके जो है हैंडल करने के लिए हमें एक संगठन की जरूरत थी। वो संगठन हमें गाइड किया गया केवीके से भी, एनडीआरआई से भी, और निफ्टिम के जो वीसी हैं उन्होंने हमें पर्सनली बहुत अच्छा सहयोग दिया और गाइड किया। हमें एफपीओ के प्लेटफॉर्म के बारे में बताया, जो कि एक किसान कंपनी होती है। अलग अलग प्रकार के किसान 10 या उससे अधिक किसान मिलके इसको फॉर्म कर सकते हैं, जो कि कंपनी एक्ट के अंडर में रजिस्टर होती है, और वो अपना व्यवसाय कर सकते हैं। सीधे अपना जो प्राइमरी प्रोड्यूस है, प्राथमिक उत्पाद है, उसको भी, या जो है उसको वैल्यू एडिशन करके उसको मार्केट में डायरेक्ट बेच सकते हैं। ये एफपीओ के हमारी जरूरत थी। और जो हमें फर्क पड़ा कि एफपीओ से हमें फर्क क्या पड़ा, अगर मैं सिर्फ डेयरी उद्योग की बात करूं तो इतनी सारी डेयरीज में करीब करीब 30-40 हजार लीटर दूध डेली का एक्सेस हो जाता है दिवाली के बाद। डिमांड कम हो जाती है और सप्लाई हमारी प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा हो जाती है। तो उस केस में हमने क्या किया, एक प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट हमने एस्टेब्लिश की एफपीओ के अंडर में। तो उस प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट में हम जो अपना एक्सेस दूध थे, हाँ, जिसकी वजह से, जो कंज्यूम ना होने की वजह से किसानों को, पशुपालकों को घाटा हो रहा था, वो हमने हैंडल किया। उसको हम स्टोर कर लेते थे खोए की फॉर्म में, कंसंट्रेट फॉर्म में, जो कि स्टोरेबल फॉर्म ऑफ मिल्क है। और उसको हम जब गर्मियों में एक्सेस डिमांड होती है मिल्क प्रोडक्ट की, तो हम उसको जनरली सेल कर देते। तो धीरे धीरे हमने और भी प्रोडक्ट्स उसकी फॉर्मेशन शुरू कर दी, जैसे पनीर, मक्खन, घी, दही, छाछ, छेना, ये सारी चीजें जो मार्केट में ऑलरेडी डिमांड में थी, उसकी पूर्ति हमने शुरू की। तो ये एफपीओ के प्लेटफॉर्म पे सिर्फ पशुपालन के डिपार्टमेंट से हुआ। इसके अलावा जैसे किसान है, क्योंकि सिर्फ पशुपालन ही आप
Okay, so these were a few clips on success stories. You can find such clips nowadays on the YouTube and social media. But the point to focus here is that these entrepreneurs have identified opportunities at different points in the dairy value chain. Somebody has picked up the milk processing and providing packaged milk, providing TIDP, traditional Indian dairy products. Somebody has picked vermicompost related business, and you can see somebody has also picked up the bulk milk cooling business, starting a chilling center and earning from this. Somebody has started both keeping the milch animals as well as the processing equipments also. And then later we saw that from various fields, people are getting attracted to the dairy sector. You can see the entrepreneur had done an MBA, left the job, and then started working in the dairy sector. The point is that nowadays people are finding the dairy sector attractive. They are taking the benefits of various schemes which are available, and identifying various opportunities along the value chain. So now we move to the next scheme, the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. As I told you, it is a part of the stimulus package which was given in May 2020 under the Atmanirbhar scheme. So the Atmanirbhar scheme is a 20 lakh crore package, and the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund has a outlay of 15,000 crore. Now, before we go and discuss the Animal Husbandry and Infrastructure Development Fund in detail, right? That what are the features of the scheme, how to apply for that. You will realize something. You have to prepare a business proposal or a detailed project report. So before we go to the discussion of the Animal Husbandry Fund, let us first get acquainted with some of the entrepreneurship related aspects. One thing is that how much money is needed for a small size business. Somebody says that I don't need money, I will start a small business. But the point here is that what constitutes a small business? Is 10 lakh rupees a small business? Is 2 crores a small business? We do not know. So we go by the definition of the MSME department, which has given definition for micro, small and medium size enterprise. Recently updated definition that was also after the Atmanirbhar scheme. Prior to that, the definition was different, but now the definition of micro, small and medium enterprise is slightly changed. The next question which comes to us is that which source of capital should I use to increase my business return? So the owner wants generally to increase his own return on investment. Then what source of capital should he use? Generally there are two sources of capital, borrowed capital or other equity capital. We'll discuss that later. Which form of organization should I choose? Where do I register my business? So the next question which comes is that there are so many forms of organization, whether he should start a proprietorship firm, partnership firm, private limited. Each of the form of business has advantages and some limitations. The next point which comes into his mind is that why should I get my business registered under the MSME? What are the benefits of registering under MSME? And recently the MSME has started a new initiative that you want to register in MSME. Then there is Udyam registration. Prior to that, it was known as Udyog Aadhar registration, but recently it is called Udyam registration. So we'll discuss one by one. So the classification of MSME, as I told you, it has changed recently. The investment in plant and machinery for a micro unit should be less than 1 crore and its turnover should be less than 5 crores. So you can see it is a multiple of 5. The plant and machinery should be 1. The turnover should be less than 5 crores. For small scale, for small units, the criteria is the investment in plant and machinery should be less than 10 crores and the sales turnover should be less than 50 crores. Again, you see a multiple of 5 there. Small units, plant and machinery, investment 10 crores, turnover less than 50 crores. And then medium units, these enterprise have maximum investment in plant and machinery up to 50 crores and the turnover again a multiple of 5. So it should be less than 250 crores. So these are the recent definitions given by the MSME department. The next question, as I told you, which source of capital should I use to increase my business return or my return on investment? Now, generally what happens is that generally borrowed capital gives a lower cost of capital and hence increases the return on investment of the owners. The simple message is that if you want to start a business which requires capital of 100 lakhs and if you yourself invest 100 lakhs, entire money you yourself decide to invest, then you will get some ROI. Let's say you get a ROI of 30%. But instead of that, if you borrow some portion or if you borrow and invest more, when you borrow your own capital, the percentage of your own capital, the proportion of your own capital decreases. So, and the proportion of borrowed capital increases. In that scenario, you will see that your return on investment increases. Now, many investors have found this and they use this. And such a practice is called trading on equity. Trading on equity is the practice of using borrowed capital to enhance return of owners. So, several owners use this practice. But let me draw your attention to the overuse of borrowed capital. When you overuse borrowed capital, there are some problems also. Now the next question is, what form of organization should I choose? So generally for small, medium, micro, small and medium enterprise, generally proprietorship, partnership firms, private limited, these forms are more suitable. There is another one-person company nowadays, and then limited liability partnership also is also there. Now, what are the benefits of MSME registration? After forming your, let's say, private limited company or your one-person company or a proprietorship firm, you want to get the MSME certification. So what are the benefits of MSME? So the list is here indicative only. There can be more benefits also. Bank loans, you get bank loans collateral free, and then subsidy on patent registration, overdraft interest rate exemption, protection against payment. So if you are selling your goods on credit and then the credit customer does not pay in time, then the MSME comes into the picture, and then it's try to settle your account as early as possible. Then you can also reduce your electricity bill, and it also gives the reimbursement for ISO certification. So ISO certification is necessary for micro, small and medium units because they want to improve their quality, and ISO certification increases their credibility of the product. Then the thing is that where should I register register for MSME? So you have to go to the website of MSME, and then you have to fill the UDM registration form. Now, the other thing is that when you have formed a private limited company or a partnership firm, then how to register or how to form such a business. So now you have to go to the website of MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So the latest development is that the MCA now offers you a SPICE Plus form. You have to fill that SPICE Plus form. So in that system, you automatically get several approvals for starting opening the bank account, GST registration, professional tax registration, all kind of around 10 type of registrations are available there. So all this is under the ease of doing business initiative of the government. The SPICE, this is some detail of the SPICE Plus form. So there is a part A and part B. Part A is generally for reserving the name of the organization. Part B, as you can see here, here you can see the part B, incorporation director info identification number, mandatory issue of PAN, mandatory issue of TAN, mandatory issue of EPFO, ESIC, professional tax registration. This is at this moment register for Maharashtra state only, mandatory opening of the bank account, allotment of GST number. All these things are there. So now we discuss what is AHIDF. So we will discuss a few features of Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund, how the form is filled and the documents to be attached, and project report. I will open one another PDF. PDF folder much. Folder So the government has given the implementation guideline for Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. In this booklet, you can find all the details of the funds, of the fund and of the scheme. We will go through only some important aspect. What is the background? As I told you, the recently announced Prime Minister Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan stimulus package mentioned about setting up of 15,000 crore Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. And you will see everything who are the eligible beneficiaries. The objectives are to increase the milk and meat processing capacity, product diversification. These are the objectives. Now the eligible entities here you can see for support under EHIDF are farmer producer organizations, private companies, individual entrepreneurs, Section 8 companies, micro, small and medium enterprise, MSMEs. And the implementing agency is Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy. Now we will focus only on the activities of under dairy. So dairy processing, under the dairy processing infrastructure, the eligible borrower will have avail the benefits, the following benefits: establishment of new units and strengthening of existing dairy processing units with quality and hygienic milk processing facility. In this scheme, quality has been emphasized. Value addition, the another point is value addition, that you have to go for value addition. This is again an indicative list, and here you can see in the 6.27 any other milk product and value addition manufacturing units. The product listed here are ice cream unit, cheese manufacturing unit, UHT milk processing with tetra packaging facilities, flavored milk manufacturing unit, milk powder manufacturing unit, whey powder manufacturing unit. And as I told you, any other milk product and value addition manufacturing units. So 6.3 is for meat processing. 6.4 is again for dairy sector, animal feed manufacturing, dairy and livestock sector, and strengthening of existing units. So establishment of mini, medium, large animal feed plant, total mixed ration block making unit, bypass protein unit, mineral mixture plant, silage unit, all these are there. The quantum of loan, here you can see the quantum of loan is 90% of the project cost. So the beneficiary will get 90% of the project cost, but that depends. It is not 90% flat. Here you can see the micro units get margin. They have to pay a margin of 10%, so they can avail a loan of 90%. But if it is a small units, the margin requirement goes to 15%, and if it is a medium-sized unit, then the margin required goes up to 25%. So accordingly the loan decreases. The interest subvention is 3% for all eligible entities. So what the benefit here is that on the loan which you get from the bank, you will get a 3% interest subvention. Moreover, you can see here 8.2 is the lending rate of interest. The lending rate of interest is for MSME. This is for MSME. For MSME, the banks will provide you the loan at an interest rate equal to external benchmark based lending rate plus 200 basis point, that is plus 2%. So nowadays the EBL, the external benchmark based lending rate, EBL, is generally a repo rate. The repo rate is around 4% nowadays. So if you are an MSME, they will give you the loan at 4% plus another 200 basis point, that is 6%. On that you will get a interest subvention of 3%. But this rate of EBL plus 2% is only for MSME. If it is a non-MSME, you will get the loan at a higher interest rate. So this is the one of the benefit of registering as MSME. those who have taken a home loan, they would appreciate here that when you get a home loan, it is also linked to the repo rate. The repo rate is 4%, but nowadays the home loan is actually available at 7%. So you can see that banks charge is not 2% higher, but generally bank charges 3%, 4% higher. But the MSME gets only at repo rate plus 2%. So that is advantage of registering under MSME. And then you can see here there is initial moratorium period of 2 years, and after that you have to repay the loan in 6 years. There is the another feature of this scheme is the loan disbursement will be done by the banks within 3 years, starting from 2020-21. The repayment, as I told you, the repayment year of the loan is 8 years, inclusive of a moratorium of 2 years on the principal amount. One more is a project will be a non-starter if no withdrawals are made within 6 months of the date of sanction. If your project is sanctioned and if you do not withdraw the money from the bank, your project will be declared as a non-starter and cease to get the benefit of under the scheme. So availability of land, here you can see that this is a very important point. You will not get the loan for land. Loan under AIDF shall not be provided for the acquisition of land in any manner, purchase, transfer, lease, etc. So this loan is not meant for purchasing land. This loan is meant for purchasing all the assets other than land. However, the 14th point is also important. You propose a business, then you have to obtain all the statutory clearances required for the project. There is a list of such approvals given in the annexure 1. I'll show you that later. And then the 15th point is very important, that you have to formulation of a detailed project report. You have to prepare a detailed project report for that. And then you have to submit the proposal to the bank. So the general steps are, you have to first submit your application to the bank, and then the bank, there are two committees. There are two committees here you can see. One is a project approval committee. If the total project cost is less than 50 crores, then the project will be approved by the project approval committee. If it is higher than 50 crores, then the project, here you can see 7.3, the project approval committee shall recommend the project above 50 crores to the project sanctioning committee. So if it is below 50 crores, then the project will be approved by the project approval committee. Otherwise, it will be referred to the project sanctioning committee. So all these things are there. The detailed booklet is available. Even you can go to the website of SIDBI, and then you will get all the information related how to fill the form on the website, and then which documents are required. This is again, as I told you, indicative list of the statutory clearances which required: local authority clearances, no objection certificate from land authority, food safety licenses, water and air act, state electricity board, MSME registration under labor act, PPF. So all these clearances the applicant has to obtain. Now I will share one more file again related to the discussion of AHIDF, Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. Startup India website. Startup India website. ये शेयर करो, ये शेयर करो, आप करो क्या कर तो ही चाल से एक अच्छे बने। So now this is some good news for those who want to prepare the project report. You can go to this website standupmitra.in. Here you can find project reports for various products. For example, here I select manufacturing of food products, and then I go to the MSME classification. Let us say that I select small, and then I will not enter loan amount here. And then I search for project profiles. You can see it shows various projects based on toolbar. One of them is flavored pasteurized milk. Now let us view this project. You have ready-made projects for flavored pasteurized milk, but then you have to make changes according to your requirements. But here you will have the outline and a sample of project report for flavored pasteurized milk. Let us see here. Now, can you see this Word file? So, as I told you, when you download the project report, you will see the project report like this: profile number, this NIC code, flavored pasteurized milk introduction. So this is a sample of a project report for flavored pasteurized milk. Industry outlook, market potential, raw material requirements, manufacturing process. So some ready-made templates are available which you can modify according to your needs, according to your budget, according to your project cost, working capital, list of machinery requirement. Again, you also get the information of the suppliers, some profitability calculations, again break-even analysis, statutory and government approvals required, backward and forward integrations, training centers. You can see here training centers. It also shows some training centers: Anand Agriculture University, Junagadh Agriculture University, Dairy Science College, Hebel, Bangalore. So Stand-Up Mitra is also one source from where you can get the idea of project reports. Otherwise, I also have the PPT on project report, but due to the paucity of time, we will not discuss it here. But there are several sources of project report. As I told you, Stand-Up Mitra website. Then again, there is another important website, PMEGP, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program website. Here you can see, go and again, you will get a good template for preparing your project report along with the cash flows. And then again, here you can see NDRI has developed a team software which also prepares a project report for any project. And then you can take the advice or services of private consultants which are working in the dairy sector. So after these central government schemes, the next comes the point of Gujarat government schemes or state specific schemes. There are some state specific schemes also. For example, if you want to see the schemes of Gujarat government, then you have to go to the website of Gujarat Animal Husbandry Department website. And when you go to the GHD website, you will get the list of schemes which are offered there. And then if you want to apply on one of the schemes, then you have to, it redirects you to the iKhedut portal. So you have to go to the iKhedut portal and then you have to apply for the scheme. One of the important scheme which has been launched recently in the Gujarat government is the support for promoting indigenous cow-based animal husbandry. So somebody who has is in the business of animal husbandry and keeps indigenous cow, then the scheme provides rupees 900 per month as a maintenance support. That comes to rupees 10,800 a year. But the conditions are that he must have land and he must and the scheme is provided only for one cow. If he has 10 indigenous cow, he cannot get the support for all the 10 cows. He will get the maintenance support for one cow. Now the other initiatives are, you can see here, there are other stakeholders which promote the dairy sector. Here you can see initiatives of universities in supporting entrepreneurs in the dairy sector. The first I have listed here is Anand Agriculture University. It has a incubator. And then the second is DVK. DVK is a Dairy Vigyan Kendra that we have under the SMC College of Dairy Science. Then we have Pashu Vigyan Kendra, again in a tribal region. Then there is Extension Education Center where dairy farming training is also given. Under the ICR system, we have KVKs, which also offer guidance and support for entrepreneurs in the dairy sector. Then another is ICR. ICR has now given approval to around 20 dairy science colleges in India. So all over the country, dairy science colleges are there. Somebody is interested into getting more information about dairy processing, they can go there and get the relevant information. The last one is SMC College of Dairy Science. The SMC College of Dairy Science has a unit called Vidya Dairy. It is a hands-on training center. I'll share one or two slides on that. Before that, I will discuss Dairy Vigyan Kendra. As I told you, it is also under the SMC College of Dairy. It is actually under Anand Agriculture University. And here you can see it publishes several literature in Gujarati language for entrepreneurs. It provides training to dairy farmers. Here you can see training being provided to beneficiaries, to the listed participants. As I told you, the SMC College of Dairy Science has Vidya Dairy, and please excuse me for a few spelling mistakes. This SMC College of Dairy Science. In Vidya Dairy, I will cover the introduction and a list of training courses and awards obtained by Vidya Dairy. So this is the building of Vidya Dairy, premises of Vidya Dairy. It was established in 1994. And the prime goal was to provide hands-on training to the students of SMC College of Dairy Science. But along with that activity, it has also gain appreciation as a training to dairy professionals around the country. Here you can see the details of various training programs. Various training programs provided by the Vidya Dairy. This I am sharing particularly because in the earlier sessions when I was reading the chat box in the YouTube, various participants had requested to share some information regarding training institutes which give this kind of training. So Vidya Dairy is one of the good avenues for training. Here you can see it gives the training on dairy technology for non-dairy technologists, laboratory practices, dairy and food plant, technology of probiotic fermented foods, technology of mozzarella cheese, cheddar cheese, processed cheese, technological engineering aspects, new development in energy management, management of bulk milk cooling systems, clean milk production, sensory evaluation. There are several training components which are given. Here you can see up to 31st December 2018, this is the number of batches and the number of participants. More information you can get regarding this by visiting the website of Vidya Dairy. Awards obtained by Vidya Dairy. The Vidya Dairy has obtained several awards in financial reporting and other aspects also, but here I have listed a few related to the skill development. 2018, Vidya Dairy received the ASSOCHAM Innovation and Excellence Award in the category of Best Skill Development in Dairy Sector. In 2018, it also received Best Skill Development for the year by Gujarat Training and Development Leadership Awards from the World HRD Congress and Star of the Industry Group. So these are 2017 was awarded again by ASSOCHAM Innovation and Excellence Award 2017 again for the best skill development in the dairy sector. So in the field of providing best skill in the dairy sector, Vidya Dairy has made its name and fame. So finally, I come to my last slide. From all this discussion, we can conclude that the Indian dairy sector is on a high growth trajectory, high demand of milk and milk products, high milk production, and boost from government schemes. New entrepreneurs in the field of, again, excuse me for this small spelling mistake, in the field of dairy processing sector have realized the importance of value addition. So even by looking at the short video clips which I showed you earlier, you would have realized that all these entrepreneurs have leveraged on value addition. They have focused on some kind of value addition. Here are some initiatives providing safe and nutritious milk and milk products by packaging, by obtaining FSSAI licenses, and going for value addition. Taking support of academic institution. In one of the clip, if you remember, that the entrepreneur had formed FPO by taking the support of NIFTEM, NDRI, adopting new businesses, the bulk milk cooling business, vermicompost business, adopting to organic dairy business. Awareness about the promotional schemes can generate a lot of motivation among potential entrepreneurs. And again, this is organic dairy business is also a growing field because of the focus on indigenous breed. Recently, the focus on A1, A2 milk. Most of the indigenous breed of our country, they give A2 milk. So there is a focus on A2 milk as well as organic milk and milk products. So people are making profit in that field also. So that's all from my side. Thank you. I thank all the participants, all the audience for giving me, for hearing.
Thank you so much, sir. The presentation was really elaborative and
Okay. I will share one video. One moment. Okay, so I'll answer that with this example. There are already companies which are into this business of A1, A2. Here you can see they are promoting. I am giving you the example of one of the companies called Vedic. The name of the organization is Vedic. You can go to the website and you can see what they are focusing here. What they are showing the comparison of A1, A2 milk, and then here they are highlighting the problems associated with A1 milk. Here BCM beta casomorphin 7, the generation of BCM, and how what kind of problems it causes, and the advantages of A2 milk. I'll show you the main page of their website. You can see here. And now, can you see this? This is again of the Vedic milk organization which I showed you. On their website, you can see the laboratory test report. The laboratory test report of on daily basis. You go to the website on daily basis. You get they upload their website report. So in this way, they are trying to gain the trust of customers, and they have already ventured into the business of organic milk and A2 milk. So there are organizations, and it can be done. It can be done by forming a company, registering it under MSME, and getting all the benefits which are available to MSME and other schemes. I hope I have cleared your doubt. Hello, somebody wants to start exporting of dairy products. Then export altogether is a slightly different field governed by the entire export related regulations. One has to first obtain the IEC code, importer exporter code, and then there are forwarding agents which are there. You have to follow follow the customs rules, and then the entire procedure of export is different, and letter of credit is involved. You have to take insurance of goods. Then there is, when you go to the customs office, you have to fill the shipping bill. So a lot of formalities are there in export business. So, but it starts from obtaining the IAC code, importer exporter code. So that's, I think I have.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to add.
Hello.
Yes, sir. I would like to add more into that. If someone is willing to start export-oriented milk business, other than FSSAI and ISO certification, they can opt for sustainability certification also. They are mostly voluntary, and if one is having sustainability certification, it can help them build reputation and trust to their customers. And with this, I would like to thank you once again, sir, Dr. Gurjar, that you covered all the possible schemes that are directly or indirectly helping in the growth of dairy entrepreneurship. Very briefly, you gave the crux of all the schemes with their uniqueness and the reasons behind its launch. The videos that were shown were very encouraging and motivating. I am sure that our participants will be motivated to generate employment by starting their own ventures. Now, I would like you sir, to join in our plenary session that we are starting very soon.
Okay, thank you, Divyang, and I thank the organizers of these 5-day training programs. The PI of this project, Dr. R.S. Pundil sir, the co-PI, the core co-PI, Dr. Samit Datta, co-PI, Dr. A.K. Makwana, and other team members for inviting me for this talk and interacting with the participants. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. In the plenary session, I welcome you all. I, Divyang Prajapati, Research Associate, Center of Agricultural Market Intelligence, Naheb Caste, Anand Agriculture University, Anand. Welcome you all the dignitaries, speakers, and participants in our online 5-day training, in the plenary session of our online 5-day training program titled Value Addition in Milk, Fruits and Vegetables, a Success Mantra for Agripreneurs. May I first invite Dr. Yogesh Lad, Faculty of Agribusiness Management and our Joint Organizing Secretary and Core Co-PI of HRD Group in Naheb Caste Project for his welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Divyang. Good evening to everybody. On behalf of NHEP Caste and the 5-day training, being a joint organizing secretary of 5-day training program Value Added in Milk and Fruits Vegetables, a success mantra for the agriculture. First of all, I would like to welcome our chief guest in the plenary session, Dr. R.S. Suthar sir, Principal and Dean, Food Processing and Bioenergy College. Thank you, sir, for being present. And I welcome you on behalf of NHEP. We are, sir, as you are aware that this project is World Bank funded project. This project is going on a very wonderful way. We can say that within the 18 months, we have progressed as far as different objectives are concerned. This project is basically for the higher educations, and we have covered all the areas of agriculture. We can say it starts from the agriculture, dairy, food, then poultry, animal husbandry, and whichever the area is possible. Even in this project, we have covered the end product, we can say the stakeholder, we can say that we have covered the traders as well as the farmer, for which we are going to organize different training programs. As far as this program is concerned, sir, I would like to say that this program is basically designed for the person who want to start their value addition product in the fruits, vegetables, and very precious, you can say, the milk commodities. In these 5 days, I think Dr. Samit Datta sir is going to deliver what is the progress so far has done in this webinar. Sir, I think you are happy to hear that. Even we can say it is worth to present you are present in this plenary session. Thank you very much, sir. I would also like to welcome Dr. R.S. Punde sir, who is a principal investigator NHB CAST, Center for Market Intelligence Project. Sir, thank you to being present, and we welcome you on behalf of NHB CAST. I would also like to welcome Dr. Samit Datta sir, organizer secretary, who has taken the burden. Thank you. We are welcoming you, sir, for the being present in the plenary session. Thank you. Welcoming you, sir. And I would also like to welcome Dr. A.R. Makwana, sir. A.K. Makwana, sir, professor and co-PI in the food dairy group. Welcome you, sir. Over to you, Dhiman.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Samit Datta, Organizing Secretary and Core Co-PI of Group 5 under this project, to share his observations. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Divyan. Am I audible?
It is audible, sir.
Carry on. Yes. Okay. Respected Dr. Arif Suthar, sir, Principal and Dean, College of Food Processing Technology and Bioenergy, AU Anand, and Chief Guest of this plenary session. Dr. R.S. Punde, Professor and PI, NAHEB CAST, AU Anand, and convener of this 5 days online training program. Core Co-PI, Capacity Building, Dr. Y.A. Lad. My fellow Co-PIs, Dr. A.K. Makwana, Mr. M.D. Gurjar, Ms. Vishita Khanna. I'll present a summary of the 5 days online training program on value addition in milk, fruits, and vegetables, success mantra for agripreneurs. Before giving the session-wise report, I'll just like to say something in general. The total registration was of 2492, almost 2,500 registration was there. Out of that, 621 was faculty, 748 was PG students, and then there are other stakeholders, 1,123, making it to 2,492. And the participants were not only from Anand Agriculture University and other state agriculture universities of Gujarat, but from other institutes like CCA, SHAU, Hisar, IRI New Delhi, MPKV Rauri, MPUT Udaipur, CSAUT Kanpur, CFTRI Mysore, ICR CFA Mumbai, ICR IFSR Meerut, ICR NDRI, then RPCA Pusa, NIFTEM. So from many institutes we got the registrations. With regard to viewership in YouTube, till now, I think till morning session, there was about 22,000 viewership for all the 9 sessions, except this current session. So average 2,500 viewers is already there. The expert speakers were both from academia and industry and other policy makers also. In general, all the talks were very pertinent to the topic, and they justified the topics of this seminar, of this training program. And I also like to mention that the participants, they are very interactive, and throughout the 5 days training program, in every session they posed a lot of very interesting questions which have been answered by the speakers. So that is also a very good feeling, and that gives us a good feeling. With regard to the feedback, at the end of the training program, we will receive feedbacks from all the participants, and we have an attendance system also. 60% attendance, those who have, they only get the certificate. So, and other than that, under Agresco project, we are also evaluating the training outcomes. So there are 3-stage evaluation. One pre-evaluation has already been done. Now there will be a post-evaluation, and after that there will be a retention evaluation. So that also we are conducting for, as we are doing all NAHEB training program, we will continue to do this for this also. With regard to the 5 days training program, we have actually taken different themes for different days. It's starting from opportunities for value addition through processing, both dairy and fruits and vegetables. Then there are success mantra for dairy and food entrepreneurs. And then there are one whole day for the startup and innovations for both dairy and fruits and vegetables. And finally, the entrepreneurial schemes. Today we have had wonderful 2 talks on entrepreneurial schemes, which are already currently running for food processing sector as well as dairy. Now let us just take some key points session wise. In the inaugural session, we had the chief guest and the keynote speaker of the inaugural session, Dr. R.S. Sodhi. So he threw light on some reasonable researchable issues which can be carried out by our PG students and faculties. He underlined the fact that with the changing demand, it is essential to understand the drivers of the change. With reference to entrepreneurship, Dr. Sodhi mentioned that there is a huge gap between the organized and unorganized sector, so that there lies the opportunity. In order to fill this gap, it is necessary to understand the local market demand and start the distribution channels with rural and local areas. So these are the highlights of his talk. In the inaugural session itself, Dr. R.C. Agarwal, DDG Education ICR, National Director NAHEP, he congratulated Anand Agricultural University, Dr. R.S. Pundi, PI of the project, and the whole AU NAHEP team for organizing successful webinars and appreciated the efforts of successfully implementing the caste component. So he also discussed some upcoming events that are to be organized under NAHEP. He has also mentioned that in future, probably in PG studies in agriculture, there will be joint guide from one from academia and one from industry. Honorable Vice Chancellor of Anand Agricultural University, Dr. R.B. Vyas, who was also the president of the inaugural session, he highlighted the importance of value addition and emphasized the need for cottage industries. He also cited an example of a farmer who has started his own enterprise with the consultancy of Anand Agricultural University, a success story. In the second technical session on the same day in the afternoon session, Dr. Alok De, Chief Executive Officer, Foundation for Development of Rural Value Chain, New Delhi, he expressed his views on opportunities of value addition in food processing sector. Dr. Alok explained in detail the different stages of supply chain along with the various government schemes and policies to promote the F&B sector. Also, he suggested some novel technologies which can be used for precise functioning, namely blockchain technology, cloud-based technology, imaging technology, etc. And then he also talked about some emerging trends like organic foods, pre-chopped F&B, instant mixes in F&B, and described various new age business models like Cropin, OTP, Intello Labs, Dehart, and Aginest. Next. So he then gave an insight into the Foundation for Development of Rural Value Chain, FDRVC, which is promoted by under World Bank project, which is promoted by Rural Development Ministry of Central Government and Tata Trust. So the organization with which he is also working. So he also explained one case study of Ranchi, which was about the vegetable and related value added based producer enterprise. Those are mainly women based enterprise. In the same day, the technical session 3, Dr. J.V. Parekh, Senior Dairy Consultant, Parekh Technical Consultancy Services, Mumbai, he expressed his views on opportunities of value addition in dairy processing sector. So he mentioned the per capita consumption of fresh and processed dairy products in the world and in India, and supply chain among organized and unorganized sectors. He briefly explained the challenges and opportunities in the dairy processing sector along with the classification of quality of raw milk. He also mentioned, emphasized that various innovative products are required, and he has mentioned many of them and their manufacturing technologies along with the equipment's requirement. In the next day, 19th technical session 4, Dr. J.P. Prajapati, Professor Emeritus SMC College, AU Anand, shared his views on entrepreneurial opportunities in traditional Indian dairy products. So he explained that there is a huge opportunity in TIDP, traditional Indian dairy products, which is currently dominated by unorganized sector. And here the age-old methods of preservation and conservation can be utilized in a modern way in making the traditional dairy enterprise a success story. So he concluded that even small-scale entrepreneurs can fetch handsome returns on their invested capital and prosper. But milk being highly perishable commodity, more care and precautions are required to minimize the losses, which can be considered as hidden profit. Okay, Dr. Sunil Patel in the technical session 5 is a professor SMC College, AU Anand. He shared his views on entrepreneurial opportunities in functional and health foods. So he gave an overview of probiotics, prebiotics, symbiotics, nutraceuticals, and other functional dairy foods. Dr. Patel explained that functional foods are the processed foods that have disease preventing and or health promoting benefits in addition to their nutritive values, by giving some examples of foods fortified with vitamins, minerals, probiotics or fiber. Nutrient-rich ingredients like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds and grains are often considered functional foods, and then he explained the processing aspects of functional foods by giving examples of several functional food manufacturing companies like Amway, Dabur, Patanjali, etc. In the technical session 6, Mr. Bhavesh Chelani, he was a managing director and chief executive officer of Santushti Shakes Private Limited, Baroda. So he shared his views on managing small dairy enterprises. He described his journey of establishing an enterprise and launching it in an international market. Mr. Bhavesh stressed that customer confidence, quality of leadership and communication is of paramount importance in any business. So he also explained that the product life cycle, he also explained about that, and need for innovation in running and expanding a successful business. He given emphasize, he has told our students that in many soft skills, they should grow up a habit of writing things, whatever is coming in their mind. Those things also he has nicely told and motivated our participants. On the technical session 7, Dr. Neeraj, Associate Professor of NIFTEM Sonipat, shared his views on post-harvest management of fruits and vegetables. He suggested that the strategies and conscious attempts should be made to maintain product quality and minimize losses. Dr. Neeraj also described the importance of post-harvest technologies and drew attention to the fact that there is a huge scope for entrepreneurs in managing cold storage to maintain good product stability. Dr. Neeraj also mentioned various preventive measures for post-harvest losses from farmers and industry's perspective. Mr. Mihir Mahanto, he is the General Manager, Fruits and Vegetables Supply Chain, Mother Dairy, New Delhi. He delivered his talk on the technical session 8th and 20th January. He shared his views on supply chain challenges for agri-entrepreneurs in fruits and vegetable sector. Mr. Mihir began his presentation by highlighting the characteristics of the fruits and vegetable business and mentioned the farm get value share of fruits and vegetables. He expressed deep concern over the unorganized nature of the fruits and vegetable sector, and he posed that as a challenge and referred to it as an emerging opportunity also for enterprise establishment. He stated that the high cost of transportation, unavailability of cold storage and inadequate infrastructure are the major challenges for the supply chain market. Along with the challenges, Mr. Mihir also recommended solutions to some of the existing problems in supply chain with his vast experience. In the technical session 9, Mr. Suraj Srawalia, Chairman and Managing Director, Patson Foods, Navsari, he shared his views on value addition in fruits, a pathway to success for small entrepreneurs. Starting with the production, he discussed all aspects of the fruit processing sector, including supply chain management, government initiatives to promote the processing industries. Then highlighting the level of processing in Gujarat as well as India, he mentioned that by using proper technologies, one can run a certain successful industry without incurring much losses. So besides, he discussed the journey of becoming a successful entrepreneur, the different product mix being manufactured at Patson Foods, and marketing strategies for the same. In yesterday, in the technical session 10, Ms. Tonisha Dikshit, consultant of government projects, she shared her views on managing startups. So she gave an overview of the startup process and also discussed the factors, that is internal and external factors that may affect the startup process. The curated content was focused on management, strategy, organizational and marketing topics, including business models, revenue models, and go-to-market approaches. Business model canvas she discussed in detail. She discussed the current scenario and emerging trends across the various dimensions that define the startup ecosystem. In addition to that, Ms. Tonisha shared brief information on key industry verticals and incubators, accelerators, all those aspects also. In the technical session 11, Dr. Arif Sutab, Principal and Dean College of PTB, he shared his views on startup and innovation in fruits and vegetable processing sector. He discussed major trends observed in food startups, including different innovative production and packaging technologies. In particular, to reduce post-harvest losses, he cited examples of several companies such as NinjaCart, Crowfarm, Krishi Hub, Fresho Cards, etc., which are successfully using artificial intelligence technology to monitor the supply value chain. Quoting examples from manufacturers like Deshi Videshi Foods, he also underlined the need to adopt novel technologies to obtain acceptable end products. Later, he discussed some of the government-initiated programs like RKBI, Ravi Raftar, SSIP, and Gujarat government-supported startup support scheme, etc., which are currently running at AU Food and Agri Business Incubation Center. He concluded his session by mentioning 5 learning disciplines, namely shared vision, personal mastery, mental models, team learning, and system thinking, which are essential to run an enterprise successfully. In the last session of yesterday, Mr. Suman Kumar, Category Manager, Adhishar India Limited, Bangalore, he shared his views on startup in dairy by value addition. He explained the dairy business models for traditional milk trader, cooperatives, and private entrepreneurs. He emphasized mainly digitally dairy farming using IoT, Internet of Things, by quoting the example of companies like Country Delight and Stella apps. He also cited the examples of companies like Big Basket Daily, Super Daily app, Milk Basket, which is successfully running milk supply business through mobile applications. He concluded his session by quoting the success stories of Milky Moo and Milk Lane, which are using e-commerce mode to strengthen the sale and an unique procurement ecosystem with BMC cooler model. In today's morning session, Dr. Ashutosh Upadhyay, Dean Academics, NIFTEM, Sonipat, given a wonderful presentation on schemes for promoting entrepreneurship in food processing sector. So he discussed many government initiatives and policies, namely PMFME, PM Kisan Sampadh Yojana, Mega Food Park, PME GP, PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Operation Green, with all their operational modalities and in detail. In today's afternoon session and the last technical session of this 5-day online training program, Dr. M.D. Gurjar, Assistant Professor, Dairy Business Management, SMC College, AU Anand, he shared his views on schemes and initiatives for promoting entrepreneurship in dairy processing sector. He started with National Livestock Mission Scheme. He discussed the Dairy Processing and Infrastructure Development Fund Scheme, Dairy Entrepreneurship Development Scheme, which provides financial assistance to commercially bankable projects with loans from commercial, cooperative, urban and rural banks with bank-ended subsidies. He has also discussed several other schemes, namely National Disease Control, Rashtriya Gokul Mission, Kishan Credit Cards, and the National Dairy Plan. So with this, I'll end this summary of the online training program. And in general, I'll again thank all the participants for their very interactive participations. We enjoyed your participations and there were nice questions. The speakers have also done all justice to the topics and the questions posed to them. Thank you. Over to you, Divyan. Yes, Divyan.
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Thank you, sir, for giving a detailed recap of our online training program. Now it is my privilege indeed to invite our chief guest of the plenary session, Dr. R.F. Sutar, sir, Principal and Dean of College of Food Processing Technology and Bioenergy, Anand Agricultural University, Anand. May I request Dr. Sutar to address our participants. Please, over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Pundir, PI of the scheme and professor at the Agribusiness College of Anand Agricultural University, the organizing secretary, Dr. Samit Datta, and all the participants. This was indeed a very good 5-day online training program. I was part of it as one of the speakers. And this was conducted under the Center of Agricultural Market Intelligence, NAHEP CAST project. And it was really it was a very overwhelming response from what Dr. Datta just told us. from the participants and very active participation that I also judged when I was giving my own lecture. And the persons from academia, industry, policymakers, all were put in together. And I think the aim of the webinar or the training program, that is to achieve the and provide in-depth coverage of various aspects of entrepreneur development, branding, marketing to the participants was successful. I think the entire team, including Dr. Pundir as the principal investigator and Dr. Samit Datta as the organizing secretary, and the whole team of your NAHEP CAST project requires a congratulations from my side. And we thank you for organizing such seminar and training program. And I think we shall be seeing some more of such seminars and training programs for capacity building in the agriculture, food, milk sector. So at the end, it was a good organizing effort by the whole team. So let us hope we have many more training programs of such kind in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your encouraging comments on the training program. Now we have Dr. R.S. Pundir, principal investigator of this project. I would like to invite Dr. Pundir to address our audience, please. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Devang. That's very nice. And first of all, I welcome as well as thanks our well-known food technologist, Dr. Shuthar, and our principal and dean of FPT College. Great, sir, listening you even during lectures, as well as to accept our invitations to be with us and evaluating us. Let me say these things, sir, and your good words about these things. Of course, sir, we are receiving very good feedback from the participants and from the experts like you also. This is definitely gives a sense of satisfaction to some extent. Even, sir, as far as you know very well, particularly Sudhar Saab, that this project is centric to higher education. We all know about these things under NHP CAST component. Our DGG sir also said these things, but this area of value addition for maybe the fruits and vegetables, including milk, in this particular webinar is the most important sought after area, sir. Even particularly our DDG said that this kind of programs should not be limited to 1 or 2. This is very, very important. So we all know the level of our food processing, whether particularly in fruits and vegetables. And more importantly, now it's addressing this issue, linking with entrepreneurship. This is nowadays a buzzword, basically. So this was more satisfying to us. That's when some experts, particularly our DDG, said that yes, entrepreneurship has to take lead in all areas, particularly in value additions. So earlier when this project was started, sir, so that times, though we were more concerned about the research and maybe capacity building programs, and entrepreneurship was not our key area, but we tried to address this area through our efforts, particularly during these programs, webinars, seminars, and other programs. And we are getting very good response. So this was as you also observed, this was a blend, we can say at our end, it was quite fine blend of experts, renowned experts like Dr. Sudhar, who is with us also, in spite of being one of the speaker, and some other people, the entrepreneurs and experts, as well as we can say the technology, entrepreneurship, and policy. All these three things were discussed very nicely by our expert speakers, and we have received very good feedbacks. Even some few feedbacks over phones we have received, and these are very good things, sir, when particularly when received from some very senior people outside the university. So, and Dr. Samit, you presented this overall observations is wonderful. This is what we need, and this is also the purpose. One very important issue is, sir, that on not only research, but during these presentations, during this webinar, nowadays we are calling this webinar, when there is interactions based on selected representative questions from the audience, this helps a lot in improving the quality of teaching and research at university level. This has been a very common observations, or not only here, but from outside the university, outside our this system. And this what we feel that we are trying to do that, and we are having good satisfaction, but we have to do a lot. We have to go a long way. Even some more programs in this direction have to be maybe the prepared and to address with the help of the experts like we are having. One very good observation from some of the peoples before, even a few days back, we have received that our speakers are very good, sir. Though this is not what we should say, but some speakers, when we say, they are really you can say the stalwart in their area. When they speak, this is not only learning at our level, but we are maintaining their lectures, audio, visuals, all with us, and we are distributing these things to our students as well as outside our university. This is also a good area, which is also one part through which we can address this purpose of improving the quality education at PG level. We are trying to do that, and the students, participants are getting benefit of these things. So maybe many points are also there, but I think as far as this particular area is concerned, which is being taught nowadays in many areas, and which is being termed as the most important sought after area, we have tried, sir, and we are receiving good feedback from the experts like you. This gives the satisfaction. So with these things, I once again thanks to you, particularly chief guest in these plenary sessions, and of course all my vice chancellor, who is not here now, but I think he always so encouraging, sir. Even many times he discussed the very minute issues. Dr. Sudhar sir may know, because you will be having many meetings with him. So sometimes he discussed many technical issues also, like price forecast, how to do that in all areas. So this is not only encouraging to us, but this keeps us just to be around the objectives, or centric to the objectives of the project, sir. So my vice chancellor, other senior people of the universities, all are encouraging us, or are supporting like anything, and we are enjoying these things, sir, definitely. With these things, particularly Dr. Shamit, under your CCK of this group, no need to say. So this group is doing wonderful, particularly this webinar. We have received very good feedbacks, even some feedbacks you may not be having. We have received from 3-4 senior people from us. And all the teams, or your organizing team, and Dr. Latz, Dr. Vishita, and others, and our colleague, Dr. Makwana is also here. Dr. Gujari is also here. Whole team has done very good work, and this is not what we are internal people, but we are receiving very good feedback in organizing these programs, particularly this program. And this is very well in line with the objective of this project. Two objectives, one research, other one capacity building program, apart from many other things which are going on. But out of these two things, we are trying to do these things. And I hope that we will continue to do these things with your efforts. Thank you very much, and over to you, Vishita. Devang?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Now, as we have come to the end of this session, I would like to invite Dr. Ashish Makwana to give a vote of thanks. Dr. Ashish Makwana, over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. At the end of this 5 days successful training program, I am here to propose the task of extending vote of thanks. So, first of all, I am very much thankful to Dr. R.V. Vyas, sir, our Honorable Vice Chancellor of Anand Agriculture University, for providing very valuable guidance since inception of this project, as well as for conducting this training program. I am also thankful to ICAR in general, and specifically to Dr. R.C. Agrawal, sir, DDG Education, and National Director NAHEP, as well as Dr. Prabhat Kumar, sir, National Coordinator NAHEP Caste, ICAR, New Delhi, for sanctioning this project and providing all needful help as and when required. I am thankful to Dr. R.S. Sodhi, sir, MD of GCMMF, for accepting our invitation and expressing his views in inaugural session. I also extend my thanks to Dr. R.F. Sudhar, sir, Principal and Dean, FPTBE College of AAU, who remained present as chief guest in the plenary session and gave appropriate suggestions. I am also thankful to Dr. Y.C. Jala, Principal and Dean IABMI, for providing guidance and support in conducting this training program. I am also thankful to Dr. R.S. Pundir for leading and guiding all of us in right direction for successfully organizing this training program. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Samit Datta, Organizing Secretary for this training program, for doing all the hard work associated with organizing this training program. I also extend my thanks to all the 3 joint organizing secretaries, namely Dr. Yogesh Lad, Dr. Mahendra Gurjar, and Ms. Visita Khanna, for helping the organizing secretary by extending their proactive support to him. I also specifically thank Mr. Divyang and Ms. Kripali for doing really hard work and doing all the tasks entrusted to them at right time in the capacity of program coordinator. At the same time, I also extend my thanks to all other organizing committee members and program coordinators from Naib Caste project associated with this training program. It would not have been possible to successfully organize such a long 5-day training program without wholehearted active support of speakers and viewers. Thus, I am very much thankful to all our experts for delivering very nice lectures appropriate to the theme, and also to all the participants for taking the advantage and raising their right queries to the experts. At the end, I thank one and all who have directly or indirectly helped us to successfully organize this training program. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Very nice, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. And thank you all the participants for your warm responses. This event would not be possible without your support and encouragement. We now officially end this session here, and